What it do, golf fans? Welcome back to the Turn Dogs Golf Podcast. This is Liam. Alongside me is Jack. Jack, we had a great week in golf, the RBC Heritage. We had a long week in golf, the RBC Heritage, because it ended Monday morning. What'd you think of the week?
Before we go any further, shout out Nelly Korda. Oh my good Lord. 5 in a row, including majors. I saw some stat today that between Scottie and Nelly in their last 5 each, they have 9 wins in their last 10 starts combined. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Good
9
Lord.
wins in the last 10 starts. I think Scottie Scheffler has won 16 million in the last month and a half.
16 and a half in the last
16 and a half million.
In the last 5 weeks, it's 16.5 million or something like that. Nelly pocketed, I want to say it was like 3.25 for her win on Sunday.
Yeah, it was first major of the year for the LPGA, so that would make sense. I don't know the specifics, but I mean, 3.5 million would make sense when it comes to my brain. So, not a shocker there. So,
best swing I've ever seen. I'll put it out there. Ever.
Yes, she's probably a good one to take notes on instead of the Scottie Scheffler PGA Tour route. You know, let's make sure people don't do the foot slide. Maybe follow Nelly Korda's swing instead.
Better than Adam Scott. Maybe not better than maybe 99 Tiger is a good comparison, but Nelly Korda, at least in today's game, best swing by a mile.
Yeah, golf's really fun right now. When we have we have an LPGA player and a PGA player just crushing competition. It makes it very fun for the golf space.
Yeah, the only downside for Nelly Korda is that Taylor Gooch wasn't in the field, so there's going to be an asterisk on her major win. It's unfortunate.
Well, exactly, and the fact that there's the best tournament in sports, the Zurich Classic, which again Gooch is also not a part of, which is going to make it so exciting for golfers because that's exactly where they want to.
I would pay for a Nelly Korda Scottie Scheffler match. No offense. I love Peyton Manning. I love Tom Brady. I don't love Aaron Rodgers. I'm from Chicago. But, I don't want to watch them play golf. Maybe, I don't know, Tiger and Tom Brady, you have professional golfers. That was fun. But, Steph Curry being the best golfer is not something that I, a golfer, want to tune into. Nelly and Scottie need to go head-to-head. That could be a pay-per-view. I'd pay for that.
See, I saw one, and it was kind of like that, but it was also, a little all over the place. So it was Scottie Scheffler versus Nelly Korda, 9 holes under the lights. And then the announcers were Charles Barkley, Pat McAfee, and Kisner. And I was like, ooh, I could be convinced on that. Now, again, it gets fluky and all over the place, and who knows how that would all work. But that's one of those where I was like, that could be a fun. I would probably tune in for that. You're right. The NFL guys
probably pay for that outside of Pat McAfee.
Well, yeah, I know. Again, some people would say the same thing, but they don't want it. They don't want Barkley in there. Some people would say the same thing, but they don't want Kisner in there. So it's just depending on who you ask, the answer changes. But again, I think that would be one of the most interesting ones since the original one where it was Phil and Tiger.
Yeah, I think my favorite one was probably the Brooks Bryson match.
Ooh,
because that's when everybody started to come around for Brooks again. And I love that course in Montana. My goodness, is that beautiful. But there's been some good ones. The last 2 have been terrible.
Yeah. Last two have been awful. But let's get back to this. Scottie won last week. He's not on the field this week. What were your thoughts on the RBC Heritage? Again, I mentioned earlier, it ended on Monday morning, which I think kind of buzz-killed the fact that it was such a promising Sunday, and it could have been that much better. But what was your overall thought on the tournament there for RBC?
I think that whatever tournament has an article of clothing for the winner, Scottie Scheffler is going to win. So next year he'll be in Corrales trying to win that very, very see-through plain white shirt that Billy Horschel won that looked awful. But talk about this. Yes, it is the week after the Masters when a lot of people dip off for golf, and I understand this. Let me just read you the top 10 guys. Scottie, Thigala, Clark, Cantlay, JT, Patrick Rogers, JT Poston, Sepp Straka, Colin Morikawa, Ludwig Aubert, and Chris Kirk. And then 12th, you have Tony Finau, Sung J M, That is the point of the elevated events. And let me tell you, it delivered. Scottie Scheffler did his thing and made it like hard to watch at the end because he was 5 shots up. That's his
Yeah.
job. He did it
Yeah.
awesome. That is the top 12 you want. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we can't have that more consistently. Now, I know guys need rest, but I think that it'd be really fun if we had that more than like the 10 times a year that we do outside of majors. Like if that was a little more consistent, that would be a really fun way to do it. Now, again, I know it can be consistent, but then guys still have to perform well enough to finish in that first page of the leaderboard. But again, I think Cantlay was great T3. I think Sahith in second place was spectacular. I was a week late on him, which sucks because I was all over him at the Masters. There was a lot of guys up there that surprised me. I think Finau top 12 was also a crazy finish for him.
How about Sungjae?
Sungjae top 12 was crazy. Ludwig top 10 was great to see. Again, usually RBC is not usually the spot for rookies. So the fact that I think Ludwig has basically broken through that mold of rookies at courses at this point. I think he's going to be an exception to the rule for the next 6 months or however long you want to consider him a rookie. So that's kind of good to know.
His rookie of the year odds should be like minus 200,000 right now.
Yeah, they're probably like minus 5K at this point, like in a safe world. I'm lowballing it, but again, they could be 10K as well.
I was gonna say Nick Dunlap, who won and has finished like dead last and everything else. Jake Knapp, who won and then barely scratching cuts since. Chandler Phillips. Like I'm trying to think of anybody else who's even remotely in the conversation.
Well, and the challenges too is we have another 4 months of golf, so theoretically somebody else could come out and have a chance, but he's already had the consistency 4 months
he's
in.
Like top 15 in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think he's all but won it, but we'll see. Do you want to go through DraftKings lineups or your FanDuel lineups and kind of talk about the money? I'm assuming you won money this week. I think you beat me.
Of course we won money. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, when you have Aberg, Cantlay, and Thigala all in the top 10, you get major replacement points.
Yep.
Hoagie came out and fired, which is spectacular. He finished top 20. I think it was like 18th. Yep. Napper did nothing for me, and then Pavon was kind of middle of the road. But when you have 4 days of guaranteed golf, middle of the road's going to do you just fine. I think he finished like 49th. But that won money everywhere.
Yeah, you beat me by I think 8 points, which is funny because you went I'm gonna have guys in 2nd, 3rd, 10th, 15th, 20th. I went the consistency route. So I had Xander T18, Patrick Cantlay T3, Siwoo Kim T18, Bez T28, Hoagie T18, Dietrich T28. So all my guys were in the top 28, but it just kind of scattered amongst that T18, T3, T28. So I won
for me.
Yeah, I won in both single entries and double ups, so I don't have any complaints. Nothing fancy, but I also generally think that these elevated events are not my best weeks of doing DFS on the planet. I do really good when there are cuts for whatever reason, because I love to pick 6 guys to make the cut and just watch other people crumble when their guys don't make it past Friday. I think that's where I kind of succeed when it comes to DFS.
Well, lucky for you, my FanDuel lineup went 6 for 6 on cuts, which was spectacular. It totally wasn't a no-cut field, guys. Aberg and Cantlay, Thigala, once again, all stacked in there. McCarthy, 28th, Pavon, middle of the road, and then Homa fell off the face of the earth. Luckily, still won money everywhere. So 4 for 4 on DFS. I love it and take it home all day.
Yeah, I'll join you there because I also had Homa on FanDuel and he finished T55. It was brutal. I think he shot 7 under on Saturday to be up in the top 20, and then shot 6 over on Sunday to drop back to 55th. So that sucked. Outside of that, I basically had a lot of the same names. Ludwig T10, Cantlay T3, Fitzy T28, Bez T28, Ekro T17. So I won money in FanDuel as well. Pretty much, again, pretty standard middle of the road week.
Awesome. And then bets this week, looking into it, I hit 6. Cantlay top 20 at minus 150 was a winner. Aubert top 20 at minus 180 was a winner. I had Bez top 30 at minus 115, which is a winner, who, if you didn't watch, made eagle to get 28th place.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
spectacular, which was great. Scottie top 9 at minus 180 was a winner. And then my losses were Homa top 20, which looked good at the beginning. And then Rory over Lowry and Power. Power came out and fired some incredible stuff. So good for him. I can't even be mad at it.
Yeah, Lowry was somebody that I did not anticipate coming out as strong as he did. And needless to say, he came out firing. So mad respect to Shane Lowry, because that was not somebody I really anticipated.
No, it was Seamus Power that he finished, I think like 10th. Well, yeah, Seamus Power was, oh crap, I just said it.
You're right. I think he was top 20. Maybe T18.
All I know is
was he part of that?
But long story short, up 0.66 units, which depending on how you bet, if you bet $1.66, bet 1,000, that's $660 a bet. Whatever it is, we're up 26.38 units on the year. You're welcome if you're paying your mortgage off at Courtesy at Jack's Bets.
There you go. I did 5 bets last week. They were a little all across the board. I'll start off with Christian Bezuidenhout top 30 at minus 134. Again, Jack mentioned it. The Eagle on 16 on Sunday salvaged that top 30, which was spectacular. I also took Emiliano Grillo over Alejandro Tosti. Tosti decided he was going to finish, top 20 again. I think that's 3 weeks in a row finishing top 25. So that was a loss. And then I had Siwoo Kim over Tony Finau. I think Siwoo was beating him by 5 strokes going into Sunday. And then Tony shot 6 under and Siwoo shot 2 over. So that was a loss. That sucked. And then Cantlay top 20 at minus 150. That was a win. But I also had Cantlay top 20 round 1 at plus 105. That was also a win. So I went 3 for 5. I'm up 0.47 units. So I'm currently up 3.94 units.
Yes, and thank you for mentioning that Cantlay round 1 bet, because like we talked about in the pod, I didn't make it an official play, but I definitely put some coin on that after hearing about it.
Yeah, it was one that I didn't think made a lot of sense to be in the positives, and I'm glad it worked out well. I think he birdied like 15 and 16 to get to top 20 as well. So it was a little risky in the beginning. There was a lot of sweating.
Guys were firing. Like Poston was 8 under or something like that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking for sure on a lot of my bets. There was a lot of sweaty palms, not a lot of sitting still, that's for sure. But we made it work. So what winners or wild card picks?
Well, mine are all the same, so whatever you want to
do. I forgot about that. Let's go winners first.
All right, winners. I had Ludwig Aubert who finished 10th, Sahith Theegala who finished 2nd. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good week. 2 guys in the top 10. It's tough to beat. I had Siwoo who finished T18, and I had Fitzpatrick who finished T28. I had Henley in here initially. I see that, but I think he finished T18. That would have been a good one too. But T18, T28, again, it's going to happen. So, wild card picks, what you have?
Well, same guys, but in a top 20 parlay, Aubert and Theegala at plus 253. That's smacked. Woo, there you go. Imagine a top 10 parlay.
Yeah, you had a chance to get him top 10. Mine was going to be a lot more risky, and I would not have worked in a top 10. I took Patrick Cantlay and Russell Henley top 20 parlay at plus 240. That was a nice win. So 2 for 2 on wild card picks. That is not an every week thing for the Turn Dogs Golf podcast. Usually that's a little bit more risky than that, but good to know.
Take those.
Oh yeah. You already commented on it, but shout out to Billy Horschel, who won at the Corrales this week.
Worst shirt I've ever seen. Literally the worst shirt I have ever seen, and the world wanted Wesley Bryan to win. No one wanted Billy Horschel. Not even the Florida Gators wanted Billy Horschel.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, congrats to Billy, but again, there's a lot of controversy around that one, unfortunately.
I like Billy Horschel, but I think the world just wanted to see Wesley Bryan.
Oh, 100%. So, all right, let's move into one of my least favorite tournaments to bet on the PGA Tour. We'll say that. I enjoy watching it, but it's a difficult time really getting the betting space in this. We are going to the Zurich Classic at TPC, Louisiana. This is a par 72 totaling 7,420 yards. Last year's winners were Davis Riley and Nick Hardy. I'm just going to point out those two have a combined 0 top 10s since this win on PGA Tour, which is kind of hilarious to me.
Nick Hardy slander will not be tolerated.
Davis Riley slander is going to be extremely tolerated.
Go for it.
Yeah, just saying. That's less of a Nick Hardy jab and more of a Davis Riley jab. Just saying.
Yeah, what happened? He fell off the face of the earth after. Whew.
Well, exactly. That's what I was going for. As far as the way it goes, PGA Tour golfers are going to be paired with other PGA Tour golfers. The top 33 teams and ties after 36 holes will qualify for the final 2 rounds. It's going to be a mix of alternate shots and 4 balls, or best ball, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not gonna yell at you for whatever you want to call it. As far as advanced metrics, basically throw them in the dumpster this week.
Godspeed. That's all you got to hope for.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are hard. You really got to go with more of a subjective route this week. Like, I'm going to really kind of focus on pairings that I like, that are combined of players and probably the best form. I think recent form is something that's really important. You also want to look for a guy that can generate enough birdie opportunities. Last year's winner won at 30 under. So if you only pick a guy that is going to maybe go 5 over or like 5 under across all 4 days, it's probably not the good option. It's just going to really kind of create separation that way. Some of the key stats to look for if you want to look into the metrics, just ball striking and approach are really kind of the important ones. But again, it's so hit and miss because it's entirely dependent on golfers working in a team. Some of these guys have worked together for multiple tournaments. Some of these guys have never like met each other outside of a dinner once or twice. So it's super sporadic. If you're looking at DraftKings, I'm just at FanDuel. FanDuel does not have any DFS as of 6:30 on Monday, so we're not going to look at FanDuel. But if you're looking at DraftKings, you're going to notice that golfers are paired together at the same price. You can only pick one golfer per pairing. So I'll just let you know, Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele are very good in this event. They're both 11,200. You can't take both of them. You just got to take the one of them. And regardless of which one you take, they're going to end up with the exact same score at the end of the round. Whether, Patrick Cantlay shoots 62 on Thursday and Xander shoots 85, the only thing that'll matter is that 62. So it's going to carry over for both golfers.
Jack, I don't know why they don't just do teams. It'd make it so much easier.
I agree. And I think it would also clear up a lot of the DraftKings file and folder, but I don't know. We're asking too much of DraftKings. I won't question it. Do you have anything else that stands out to you, Jack, or do you want to get right into the lineups or the rankings?
I mean, if you're asking me, I want to get to AT&T Byron Nelson, but that's not an option.
Yeah.
I don't hate this event. I think it's cool to see alternate shot, kind of a Ryder Cup theme, but no offense, I don't necessarily want to watch Henrik Norlander hit alternate shot at 9:30 a.m. on a Saturday when I'm trying to watch and have a coffee or something. But no disrespect to anybody. I just like to watch golf. Probably going to watch it anyway. Honestly, hot take. This is probably one of the weeks that Liv's going to pop off.
Yep.
Probably going to be big.
Yeah, this is again, this is not a week where I would bet heavily on the PGA Tour. I would save it for another week where there's more opportunities. Even Jack and I are betting probably a little less in terms of the amounts of bets this week compared to what we normally would. And that's just because of the way the tournament kind of falls. So keep that in mind. Again, bet to whatever you're feeling comfortable with. But with that, Jack, do you want to get into the DraftKings rankings?
Well, good Lord. Let's just take the top 3 teams. The top 3 teams. 4 teams. Sorry, my head's in the tailspin. Cantlay and Schauffele, McIlroy and Lowry, Thigala and Zalatoris, Morikawa and Kitayama. Number 1, Cantlay and Xander are the dynamic duo. If you've never watched golf and you're just tuning in, first off, welcome. My name is Jack. Ryder Cup pairing, President's Cup pairing, Zurich Cup pairing, friends, best men at each other's weddings. What more do you need to know? Oh, yeah, they're both in the top 10 of the OWGR. These guys are ballers. They're worth every penny. Do with that what you wish.
Yeah, it is interesting. I do find myself kind of looking through some of this list, and some of the names that stand out to me are guys that are like Ryder Cup teammates or President's Cup teammates, or, I do think that those guys have a bit of a leg up on some of the other people within their range. I think that's definitely something you could follow. Now, is that going to be a live and die by metric? No. But it usually, if they're Ryder Cups and President Cup teammates, or whatever the case may be, they play a lot of tournaments together as partners. That generally means they're going to be pretty comfortable with each other, and that usually means they know how to ham and egg, or at least play well. What one person struggles on, another person is quite good on. So that's important to keep in mind. And Xander and Cantlay really do that quite well. Xander's probably the second most consistent player on tour. And then if you look at Cantlay, he just finished consistency wise. I didn't say
first, Scottie.
Probably Scottie.
Yeah.
He's got like 7 wins this year. So I mean, that's gonna lower your consistencies.
Man, you know what? I think about consistency. Scottie Scheffler should be the pinnacle, but watching him golf, he's not consistent at all, but is like the most consistent player ever. It doesn't make sense. You know what it's like? Not to talk about Tiger, but everybody, if you grew up watching Tiger, like that stretch from like 07 to 012, I think he had like a 40% fairway in regulation. That guy sucked off the tee, kind of still does. He really did well at the Masters, not to go back into it. But Scottie does the same thing. He just kind of whacks it and then plays it. My God, I don't even think about consistency, but I guess he hits the metrics.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's a little bit of semantics there. If you think he's first or second or third, whatever you think it is, Xander is definitely top 5 at the absolute worst. I mean, regardless, he's up there. And then again, Cantlay finished T3 at the Heritage, and he's really kind of rounding into form. So I think they are the 1A of this tournament. Yeah, if it makes sense and you can fit them well in your lineups, congratulations. They're probably finishing top 5 this week.
Yeah, I mean, I won't spend too much time talking about them because those guys are dogs. The other group I'm interested in this one is Theegala and Zalatoris. Yeah. Theegala is a stud and has 5 top 10s, including a runner-up last week. So he's obviously getting into form, and I think with this, he'll have a lot of fun. It's a lot less pressure than a normal event. I'm interested to see Zalatoris because he's kind of done the teeter-totter throughout this whole year. And I think with the ball striking abilities that he has, having a less pressurized tournament may benefit him. But I know the thing we always talk about with Zalatoris is the higher the score, meaning closer to even par it is versus 30 under, the better he does. I don't know. Everything we've heard about him coming into this year was course records in Dallas, course records in Louisville. He feels into form. He's got the putter, which he's done a lot better with the putter. I'm curious to see what a no pressure in air quotations, if you're watching, event does for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Theegala and Zalatoris are both great iron players. Again, I think Theegala is a solid putter at the absolute worst. Zalatoris has really kind of figured out his putter. I think if you don't go with Cantlay and Schauffele, I think that Theegala and Zalatoris make a ton of sense. For a lot of the reasons you already said. I'll quickly talk on Rory and Shane Lowry. This is a comfortable pairing of guys that are, that were 2 veteran Ryder Cup team members. Basically, Lowry is hopefully going to have Rory set him up, and then Lowry is going to hopefully figure out his putter, because Shane Lowry has lost about 7 strokes putting each of the last 2 weeks, which is very concerning. But in theory, if they set it up right, especially for alternate shot, Rory and Shane have a good opportunity to go low. The only other thought here is that these guys have never really played this event. This is not a common event for Rory and Lowry to go to. The rumor is that Rory drunkenly over lunch one day was like, Shane, you and I should go play the Zurich Classic together. And that was how they got into this event.
Okay, now they're my favorite team this week.
Straight up. That was what I heard. I was digging through. Now, again, don't believe everything you've heard on Twitter. but evidently it was a drunk over lunch.
Twitter's not 100% legit.
I know, shocker. I know.
Hmm.
Now again, it was from a pretty good source. It was from Barstool, so they generally
How
try.
legit is Barstool? I don't follow Barstool, so I don't know.
I think more legit than some of the other Joe Schmoes that post on Twitter.
Like
But I think
Rappaport?
no, well, yeah, that was Rappaport. Rappaport through Barstool.
Oh, I didn't know he was with Barstool.
Yeah. So
Man,
that's
shout out Rappaport.
there you go. And then you got Morikawa and Kitayama. Morikawa has kind of found his ball striking the last 2 weeks. Whatever he did something at the Masters, and whatever he's doing, he basically cancel out everything prior to Augusta, because he's a slightly different golfer now than he was then. He figured out something as far as hitting an iron shot. So
This
I don't
is
know
really a who the heck knows pairing, honestly.
Yeah, Kurt Kitayama's a weird one. I don't know if I love spending up that much for a guy who could help Morikawa, or he could quite literally sit on his coattails and not offer a single thing. It's
the other
quite
way around. Like, we have no idea.
Yeah, it's a very nervous pairing there with Morikawa and Kitayama. No history together, playing tournaments together either, which is terrifying. So I would stick to either Patrick and Xander or Thagala and Zalatoris.
I agree with that.
All right, into the 9K range we go. We're starting with Alex and Matt Fitzpatrick, all the way down to Seb Straka and Bryce Garnett. Yeah, Bryce Garnett.
Yeah, I think that the most owned group from this is going to be the Fitzpatrick brothers. They were, I think it was like T3 in this at the end of the third round last year and then fell off. I think Connors and Pendrith have a really good chance to be good, but I love the Hoagie and McNeely pairing, because Hoagie has, much like Colin Morikawa, finally got into a stretch where he said some really good golf through and through. I mean, really, really good under the radar. McNeely is one of those guys that, like we saw at, I think it was the Players, he can compete with everybody, but he has a little bit of nerves still. He's got a little bit of the jitters. This event is going to eradicate that completely, and I love that pairing. I really do.
Yeah, they're kind of similar to the Sahith and Will Zalatoris grouping for me, where Hoagie's got the iron play that's amazing. McNeely has the putter that's, I don't know if amazing, but at least well above average on PGA Tour. And I think if they can work out where Hoagie's hitting all the approach shots and then Mav is making all the putts, I mean, they got a chance to go low. I think that is going to be the popular pairing here.
Do we know, I can't remember, is it alternate shot through and through, or is it modified?
It's 2 days of alternate shot and 2 days of best ball.
Yeah, but is the alternate shot, do you know offhand, is it modified, meaning they can select the drive and then play alternate shot from there?
No, I think it's just straight up alternate shot.
Got it.
I don't know what the specific terminology for that is, but I don't think it's modified. A couple things on Matt and Alex Fitzpatrick. For the first time ever, Alex Fitzpatrick is inside the top 150 on the OWGR. He's also finished 21st or better in 6 of his last 9 starts on the European Tour. Nobody has a higher opportunity this week in terms of potential than Alex Fitzpatrick, because if him and his brother win, Alex gets his PGA Tour card. So he's got the most to win or lose depending on the week. Most of the rest of these guys are just playing 4 rounds with their, with one of their favorite buddies on tour. Alex is playing with his brother, and if he wins, he goes pro, basically, is the simplest way to say it. So he is probably the most expectation and the most pressure. It makes for an interesting pairing. It's either going to make it that the Fitzpatrick brothers win. They could fall apart like they did last year on Sunday. It's going to make it quite fun, and it makes them an interesting opportunity if you want to get to them.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't get to it. I like Fitzy. I guess that doesn't make sense. I like Matt Fitzpatrick. I don't know. Just something about Alex catches me off guard in terms of, I don't like, this is coming from a place that a lot of the golf new people that blast music, and they call me the old head. Like,
Yeah.
I get that. I'm a classic. I don't think that this event should get you your PGA Tour card.
Again, I agree with you, but unfortunately, I don't make those rules. But the fact that that is an option, I am going to pay more
But
attention to it this week.
how in the world can Alex Fitzpatrick get an invite to the Masters from this, but Akshay Bhatia has to win 2 events? Like Billy Horschel doesn't get crap for winning Corrales outside of a stupid shirt that literally they went to Walmart and had to press on Corrales at the end of it because that's the worst dress shirt I've ever seen, and I'll die on that ledge. But like, how is this? That doesn't make sense. PGA Tour is messed up.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but again, that is the circumstances there for Alex Fitzpatrick. I know you talked about Corey Connors and Taylor Pendrith. I think Taylor Pendrith is awful right now in terms of his golf form. I actually think the better grouping of Canadians is Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin. Nick Taylor also just went head to head against Scottie in oh my gosh, Phoenix? Yeah, he won in Phoenix. So I like the idea of going to Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin if you don't want to go McNeely or Hoagie. I almost said Homa, but it's Hoagie. So they have played well here in the past as well. They've had good finishes at this event, which I think should account for something. Do you have any thoughts on the Højgaard brothers? I think they're too inconsistent. Can't get to them.
I love them. I'm a fan, and I've been watching them for years and years, and I love betting on Nikolai because he wins me money.
Yep.
I don't know. Rasmus was supposed to be the guy, then it became Nikolai, and all of a sudden you see Rasmus playing and not Nikolai, and then you see Nikolai playing and not Rasmus, and I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea if this is, like you had said with the Alex brothers, I don't know if this is, hey, we have a chance to go play 4 rounds of golf, spend time with the family, get everybody together, and go make money. I don't know what's going on. Not like that really has an impact. They're going to try and play their best regardless, but I have no clue.
I do think it is quite interesting. Anytime brothers get paired up together, I'm a competitive SOB. So like if I'm getting paired up with my brother, I want to win. But like I don't know how these guys are going to feel. These guys might be like, yeah, we're just going to hang out for a week. But so there's 3 different sets of brothers playing together in this week in the tournament. And I think they're all big boom bust potential. They can all do really well or really poorly, and it's
Who's the third?
It is the Fitzpatrick brothers, the Højgaards, and the Cooties.
Oh, that's right. We didn't get there yet.
The Cooties are brothers, right? I'm not losing my mind.
Yeah, they're way down there though.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I'm well aware of where they're at in the price point. They're 6,600.
I thought you were saying we've already talked about 3 brothers. I'm like, wait, hold on.
No.
Here.
No. But I think as far as brother options, there's lots of boom bust potential with the brother picks. So, all right. Anybody else here? You want to get into the 8Ks?
8K because it's confusing.
Okay. Billy Horschel and Tyson Alexander at 8,900, all the way down to Ryan Fox and Garrick Higo. Ugh.
Okay, let me just say one thing. I don't know who's covering this, ESPN, NBC, CBS. Let me just look right at you. If if Keith Mitchell and Joel Damon are not mic'd up on a featured group on my TV, you messed up.
1,000%. Did you know this is the first time that they're playing together ever in this event?
Well, yeah, because he plays with Sungjae.
Yeah, he always plays with Sungjae, but this time he's playing with Joel. I think that's spectacular. If you guys don't know, Keith Mitchell and Joel Damon play what feels like with each other and against each other like 30 times a year. Now, that's not actually how much they do it, but these guys love match play. They play against each other all the time. They play with each other all the time in terms of on the golf courses, pairs. So they are probably going to be a popular pick just based on name value and the fact that people want them to do well this week. I don't hate it. Keith specifically has been very consistent and played quite well. More than anything else, it's just going to be a fun group to watch. If you don't bet on them, that's fine. But I would still be rooting for them to succeed because if they're on the top of the leaderboard, that means it's going to be a fun weekend.
Oh my gosh, I love Keith Mitchell. I call him the GOAT, even though obviously he's not the GOAT. Put it aside. He's awesome. I love him. If you don't listen, I hate visors. I think visors are tooly, and if you wear a visor on the course and you're listening right now, nobody thinks you're cool. I'm wearing a Major League Fishing hat more as a bit than anything. This hat is cooler than your freaking visor that you spent $60 on. Throw it away, burn it, especially if a wife. That wife is embarrassed that you left the house and the neighbor saw you wearing a visor. Ditch it. Unless you're wearing a cashmere sweater, mint golf pants, and you're Keith Mitchell, because that guy's awesome. Otherwise, throw your freaking visor away. I swear to God. No one thinks your visor's cool. Good Lord.
He's got an inherent like swagger that allows him to, for whatever reason, rock the visor. I don't know why. I don't know how, but he does it quite well.
Bubba Watson ditched the visor. Everybody liked Bubba Watson again. They thought he was less douchey. Once Bryson DeChambeau switched to a regular hat, people came back around for him. Just wear a normal hat, people. No one likes Garrick Higgo when he wears that stupid bucket hat. Nobody likes Tyson Alexander when he wears that straw hat sometimes. You guys all look tooly. I don't care what Barstool tells you. Once you go on Google, you're like, oh, look at this. You guys will look like idiots. I swear to God, I'm wearing a Major League Fishing hat, and that's coming from me. Wear a normal hat. Nobody thinks your visors are cool. You look like a douchebag.
All right, I'm gonna loop back into the golf. Wow, that was spectacular. Okay, I'm gonna talk about Billy Horschel and Tyson Alexander just because Billy was a winner of this event in 2018 with Scott Piercy. He also won this event when it was an individual tournament in 2013, way back when. Yeah,
Horschel visors were in.
Oh God. Horschel has always played alongside Sam Burns each of the last 3 years. Sam Burns' wife is gonna pop and have a kid any day now. And every year they contended with finishes of T11, T4th, and 2nd. He hasn't finished worse than T14 here since 2018 and enters in good form with a win and ranking 2nd in strokes gained total over the last 36 rounds. The biggest question is A, who the F is Tyson Alexander, and B, will he play well? Now, again, I actually know who Tyson Alexander is, but let's just say he is a few tiers below Sam Burns. Is that probably just the nicest way to put it, right, Jack?
Yeah. Listen, did you hear the comments I just said about him? I don't care about his golf game. He wore a bucket hat. What a douche.
Yeah, so Billy Horschel is going to be an inherently risky play. Just based on that, but his history here is also very different. I will also talk 8,100 about Davis Thompson and Andrew Novak. This is, I think, kind of the sleeper, sneaky play of the range. Both played in this event last year with much worse partners. Thompson's really a player we've kind of been keeping an eye on all season due to his solid approach play. He's got really good irons. Novak has been extremely streaky. He had, I think, 6 top 20 finishes in his last 10 starts, maybe 11 starts. So they have the upside. Keep that in mind. 8,100. It's not the worst option if they fit well into your range.
Yeah, and if you're looking for the withdrawal play, you can go down to 8K with Garrick Higgo and Ryan Fox.
Yeah, the funny part is if you look at the metrics, they rate out really well this week, and that's how I know that metrics don't mean shit at this course.
But Garrick Higgo wore a bucket hat to a major, and it was all white, and he looked horrific. And I'm telling you, I will die on that hill.
The
only people that wear a visor or a bucket hat are Keith Mitchell and Joel Damon, and they're paired together. Everybody else looks like a tool.
To be fair, they'd wear bucket hats and then shotgun like 3 beers off the first tee.
I do not care. I don't care if former President Barack Obama comes up on the first tee that's paired with me. If he has a visor on, I'm going to say something. Shout out Obama, man. He's my guy from Chicago.
Oh, my God. Oh, this has gone off the rails. All right. Anybody else in the 8K range stand out to you? Not really. No.
Well, I'll mention Bo Hosser because he's also known to wear a visor sometimes, and it looks awful. Hook 'em horns, baby, but no way.
Thomas Dietrich and Robbie McIntyre, or Bob McIntyre, or Bobby McIntyre, whatever you want to call them. They are potential Ryder Cup pair for the future. So I'm curious kind of how that will work together between the two of them. Less of a group that I'm picking specifically in DFS based on the price, and more of somebody I'm kind of keeping an eye on because I think that could be an interesting pairing for future Ryder Cups. That's all. Uh,
I don't think that McIntyre will be invited to any upcoming Ryder Cups based on recent play.
I don't think he will either, but again, that could be an interesting pairing if McIntyre makes it to, not this Ryder Cup, but let's say the next one. Again, both young guys, I think at a certain point they could both end up on a Ryder Cup together, assuming they play decently. Again, not somebody I'm playing, more somebody I'm just looking at to see for the future. Into the 7K range, Austin Eckroat and Chris Goddard up. Ugh. All the way down to, oh my gosh, this thing never ends. Eric Barnes and Harrison Endicott. Ugh.
How in the world are Gary Woodland and Lee Hodges 70? They should be 4,800. Like, I love Gary Woodland, major champion. What he stands for is incredible. I don't know what's going on. Lee Hodges, I don't know what's going on. They should be all the way down here. And I love both those guys. Gary Woodland is one of my favorite players. I love the way he plays. I love, like what I said, I love what he stands for, a major champion. My gosh, is he struggling? That's a name grab right there.
The interesting thing, once you get into this 8K range, I start to realize that you are basically picking a team, but you're basically picking one guy on that team to carry the other guy and hopefully make the cut. That's kind of the way I see it. Now, again, there are a few exceptions to that rule, but you're basically relying on a few guys to basically be like, oh, hey, you're my teammate. You know what we're going to do? Backpack. I'm going to carry you out to the weekend, and we're going to make this work for this weekend. Because there's some bad names that are high up. Again, Woodland and Hodges being one of them.
The only guy I like in here is Thurston Lawrence, South African. He's a dog. He's going to be probably, I would say he's going to contend for a win in the next 12 months on the PGA Tour, even though he obviously doesn't play majority of his rounds on the PGA Tour. But I would say he's going to contend. He's an up-and-coming guy.
You said Thurston Lawrence, right? The one with Aldrich Potgieter.
Good Lord.
Is that not his name?
It is, but Potgieter is not how you pronounce it.
Potgieter. That's what I'm calling him. I think it's hilarious.
He's not German.
Well, he is to me now. Hey, you know what? It was just April 20th, so it would have been funny if he would have been Potgieter. I'm gonna talk 7.
Oh.
Come on, Jack. I'm not gonna spell it out. This is going on YouTube. At 7,700, Taylor Moore. Disregard whoever the hell he's playing with. It's Matt Neesmith. He's not that great, but I think Taylor Moore has.
He wears a visor. He's a tool.
Well, there you go. Taylor Moore has been spectacular, and he's going to make a lot of cuts, and he will probably continue to make this cut. They both finished tied 4th here last year. So I think Taylor Moore has a chance at 7,700 with his partner to basically throw him on his back and have him play well. The other guy who I figured you would mention, but you haven't gotten to yet, is Matthij Schmid at 7,200.
Yeah, that's a German guy.
Yeah, he's German. I know I got that one right. Him and Alex Smalley are basically both at least solid to good PGA Tour golfers, which is more than I can say for like 80% of the other names in this range. No, I mean, it's really sad, but that's the number we're going on right now. Matthij Schmid. Yeah, exactly. Matthij Schmid has been playing really well recently. He's got a couple straight top 20s, and his irons have been absolutely crushing it for him recently. So at 7,200, I think he is a lock for either a 5th or a 6th guy in your lineup, depending on, if you go up and get Xander and Cantlay.
Yeah, I think he's probably the best play. I mean, this whole range is just confusing and scary. Taylor Moore at 7,700, whether you're at Augusta in a paired up tournament, if you're at Corrales, I don't know what the heck goes on with him. He must have an in with some DraftKings guy that just puts him at 7,700 every single week. Keep riding it.
Yeah, we're going to keep following that Taylor Moore bandwagon for sure.
I don't know what that dance was.
No, I'm a big fan of Taylor Moore this week, so that was why I was like, hell yeah, let's go Taylor Moore. All right, into the 6K range we go. Oh gosh, this is what is his name? Bryson Burgoon? No.
Okay,
no,
let's just preface.
Bronson.
If you're in this category looking for somebody, you went really top heavy. because you may see like Eric Cole, but he's paired with a guy who's barely making senior tour cuts.
Yep.
I don't know what the heck is going on. SH Kim is good. Cooney brothers are fine. I genuinely don't know what you could get out of here. Like, this is scary. Don't do it.
I will say this. If you are stuck in this range, I actually think that the Cooney brothers are one of your best choices in this range. I think that they are probably the top 6K option I would go to. I think it makes a ton of sense to go to them if you wanted to do that. For whatever reason, the metrics love Peter Malnati and Russell Knox. Russell Knox isn't even really playing on the PGA Tour right now. He's back on the Korn Ferry Tour, and even then he's not playing all that well. So I would keep that in mind. If you're like me and you needed to dumpster dive because you went way too hop heavy, there's basically two options. They're not good options, but they're options. The first one being Charlie Hoffman and Nick Watney. Now, again, on that one, you are basically relying on Charlie Hoffman to have one of his big pop-off weeks like he does at, Waste Management in Phoenix, or
Charlie
did.
Hoffman used to wear a visor, though.
All right, well, there you go. According to
I only put in relevant information in here, guys.
So again, you're reliant on Charlie Hoffman kind of backpacking Nick Watney if you go there at 6,200. Alejandro Tosti just finished top 30 on an elevated event, and he's 6,100. Now again, he's paired with Ted Potter Jr., which is terrifying. But again, he's a guy that you are basically hoping he throws Ted Potter Jr. on his back and carries him to a mid cut. I think those are probably the two best options if you just want to rely on, again, a individual to carry a team for 2 days to make a cut.
Shout out Ted Potter Jr. You're going to catch him at Golden Corral before his tee time. He is, I don't know what the heck he's still getting invited to these events for. Good for him. Only team I would support here is Justin Suh and Rico Hoey. Hoey is just playing okay for a 6K guy, and Justin Suh has the ability to perform and what he's won in the last 24 months. Everybody else, I do not want to support them. I'm not gumming down here. I don't support anybody. Like, no.
Justin Suh has missed each of his last 7 cuts. Let's not go down that route. I normally will agree with you, but I'm going to avoid going to a guy who's missed his last 7 cuts. I'm sorry, he had 1 T33 in there at Valspar. Outside of that, he's basically missed every other cut.
Metrics don't matter this week, baby. It's visors or no visors this week.
They don't, but don't go with Suh. I'd rather pick a Cooney brother then at that point. I think he's your best option in the 6K range. Again, there are no FanDuel lineups because they're not out as of like 6:30 Central Time on Monday. But Jack, we do have DraftKings lineups. What does your DraftKings lineup look like this week?
For the record, I did not make an official lineup. I am not staking a single penny on this lineup. I did make one, but I'm not putting any money on anything because I do not bet what I'm not confident on. So my lineup that I do not recommend you tail, and I'm not putting money on, preface, is Matt Fitzpatrick at 9,700, Sepp Straka at 9K, Chan Kim at 8,300, Thorbjorn Olesen 7,900, Taylor Moore at 7,700, and Matthijs Schmidt at 7,200. I am not putting any money on it. Do not tail it. Do not bet it. But that's the lineup I generated in 3 minutes. You're welcome.
It's a safe option, and in all honesty, I think that is probably the good option if you just want to win back your money and get to next week. That is probably the option that I would go to. If you wanted to go outside of the box and you want to risk it for some biscuit this week, I have a lineup for you. I am starting with Will Zalatoris and Sahith Theegala at 10,300. Then give me Maverick McNeely and Tom Hoge at 9,400. Then I'm going Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin at 9,200. Then give me Taylor Moore and Matt Neesmith at 7,700. Give me Matthijs Schmidt and Alex Smalley at 7,200. And give me Charlie Hoffman and Nick Watney at 6,200. You are basically looking at 5 guys to make the cut and Charlie Hoffman not to absolutely tank your lineup. It's pretty much the goal there. That's all I can say. I did a few other options where I started off with Xander and Patrick Cantlay, and I would end up with like 3 guys in the 6K range. And I was like, this is awful. So this was the best lineup I could kind of muster together where I was happy with my top, 4 or 5 guys.
There you go.
All right. How many bets are we looking at this week for you?
Just 2.
Ooh.
Because, like I said, I do not bet what I'm not confident in. Bet number 1 is Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay to finish in top 20 in round 1, and that's minus 160. They only have to beat, I think, 60 teams. Is it 80?
60. Yeah, I think it's 60.
It's like
I think.
60, let's call it around 60 teams.
Yeah.
10 of them have senior guys that are barely making the cut. 5 have Corn Fair guys that are not making the cut. 5 have bucket hat, little visor wearing guys. I mean, they should win this. That's minus 160. And the second one is it's the 5V field, and the 5 teams are Cantlay and Xander, Nikolai Hoyard brothers, Hoyard brothers, McIlroy and Lowry, Tagala Zalatoris, Morikawa and Kitayama. Any one of those teams to win is plus 110.
There you go. Again, that's pretty good options right there for those 5 guys. So I don't blame you going that route. I actually ended up with more bets than you this week, which is fun. Or maybe it's not fun. We'll see. I took 3 bets. All of them I felt fairly comfortable on. My first bet is going to be Alex and Matt Fitzpatrick, top 20 at minus 120. Again, do I know if they're going to win? Potentially not. But I do think that's an interesting option, and I think they have a chance to contend on Sunday, and they'll probably fall apart, but they'll still finish top 20. My other bet is Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry, top 10 at plus 105. I figured betting on probably a top 3 best golfer in the world right now, and Rory to get top 10 in a weak field is probably a safe bet. And then I took your Cantlay and Schauffele bet for top 20 round 1, and I raised you the Xander and Patrick Cantlay round 1 top 10 at plus 145. Again, I feel the same way Jack does, where there are way too many, let's just call them lower PGA Tour players than Xander and Patrick and senior tour players. So I'm quite comfortable with them in top 10.
I like it.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting week. That's for sure.
Awesome. And then my wild card pick, save winners for last, is Sepp Straka and Bryce Garnett to finish in the top 10 at plus 250. I don't know why. Shout out OG, because I know you're listening, Liam's dad. I have a feeling about Sepp Straka. I feel like he's finally coming into form, and I think I'm going to try and milk the last out of that bag that I can before he goes randomly back to finishing 126th in the field.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Sepp Straka has the chance here to finish top 5 with Bryce Garnett or shoot 12 over. And it's very much one or the other. So the plus 250 odds are crazy, but I don't hate it. I went a slight different route. Give me Matt and Alex Fitzpatrick top 10 at plus 200. Again, I don't love this. I'd prefer their top 20 odds at minus 120. But for a wild card pick, I think they have a chance still to stay within that top 10.
Awesome. Well, you might as well fire right into your winners then.
Yeah, winner, Matt and Alex Fitzpatrick. Again, I think that that's a good way to go about it. Now, again, depending on how you bet, you might not be able to pick a guy that you've already used. Your one and dones might be a little different this week. If you can't pick guys over and over again, don't go with the Fitzpatrick brothers. Don't pick anybody off the top in this range. I would pick somebody lower. I would go maybe Keith Mitchell and Joel Damon. I don't hate Dietrich and McIntyre, who was my second winner's pick. Even if you went to Taylor Moore and Neesmith, I don't blame you there either. I would not pick winners and go for the top 3 guys unless you have the flexibility to pick them this week and then pick them again in the future.
And then your second winner's pick is
I already said Thomas Dietrich and Robert McIntyre. I kind of threw it in halfway through. Sorry, my bad.
No, that's on me. My winner's picks, I went Cantlay and Schauffele. These guys are ballers. I think they want to get another trophy on their nightstand. And then I went Hoagie McNeely. I think Hoagie's playing really well, and McNeely is obviously one of the upperclassmen in terms of the golfing world. And I think with lower pressure, he can perform. So those are my 2 winners.
Yeah, I think if you have the ability to pick whoever you want this week without any repercussions or issues in the future, Cantlay and Schauffele have to be your winners picks. There's just no way around it. But again, the challenge is saving them for other times as well.
Yeah,
So.
and then breaking news here at the Turn Dog Golf Podcast. Apparently, Caitlin Clark had a leak of her nude in the shower go viral. Why do people have these on their phones? Like,
Check. I have to cut this out of the podcast.
No, you don't.
There's no way you're gonna discuss a nude on a podcast that's going on YouTube and Spotify.
We didn't make it. It's not illegal to talk about it.
Yeah, but why is this a highlight of a golf podcast?
Because my phone all of a sudden was getting lit up about it. My fellow Hawkeyes, well, not named, but.
Oh man! All right. What do we got after this week? What tournament are we going to after this week? We're going to AT&T Byron Nelson. Oh, yeah. Thank God! Can that get here already, please? All right. With that, everybody, we will leave you this week. Again, if this is not normally this is not a normal week as far as betting. So if you are hesitant about putting down a bunch of money this week, save it for next week at the Byron Nelson, or maybe 2 weeks from now, or maybe just save it for the U.S. Open or the PGA or whenever you're feeling. Because this is not the week that I would be spending money on betting that you are not fully competent in. I
think that if you're interested in live betting, I'm going to also have some stuff on the socials, but I think this is a John Rahm win week. Finally get that live trophy.
There you go. All right. And on that note, we will leave you guys there on that cliffhanger. Let's go out there this week. Let's have some fun and safe betting.
And safe betting, do not take your winnings and buy a visor, or I'll find you.
Okay. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.